the way that we can really achieve equality is if we empower both, and like no two people are the same, and the way that you act, the way that you look does not define your sexuality, your personality, how intelligent you are.
One of the first things I feel like, Irene, you're even experiencing that was a shock to me was the realization that we are still experiencing the same tension points in so many ways, regardless of being millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, and now upcoming Gen Alpha.
How much of this awareness about ourselves and that you're learning about each other can or should be applied to males? Perhaps it's now the males' turn to learn more about themselves. Millennial guest Mary Ellard, founder of the Element Collective, and two beautiful teenage girls of the podcast, In Your Element, a podcast devoted to deeply understanding themselves and others. Please welcome Mary Allard, Abby Jones, and Taya Stern.
Oh, thank you so much for having us, Irene. I know that Abby and Taya are so excited too.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you.
How much of what you're learning about yourselves now would you say applies to males at your age?
Honestly, not that much. I feel like we're at completely different stages of our lives, emotionally, physically, like spiritually. I don't even know. Like I've really noticed that like me as like a girl, I'm just like so much more alert about like my future, like because I know I have to work harder than my male peers
Oh,
to
you
get.
feel that way?
I
Wow.
definitely do. Like it's ingrained in our brains from a young age that
Mm.
boys are the smarter, faster ones, and the girls are the pretty, nice ones. And it's something that I've had to really work on in myself because I've always been the most outspoken person in the room. Like, and I used to feel shame for that, and sometimes I have to catch myself and be like, you know what, like, this isn't an issue. And on top of it, like, this is stupid, but like, literally, like, guys my age are just so impulsive sometimes. Like, during my off period, I sit outside with my friends and we do our homework. And, the guys they throw balls at each other's bare backs and like, and it's just like we're in completely different stages in our lives, not because we're different because like we're men and women. It's just simply because like I just feel like I like girls have to grow up so much more quickly.
You
If
feel that way, huh? And
I
why is
definitely
that?
feel
Why
that
is that? Why, I
way.
mean, why do you think that way? Yeah.
Like from a young age I was taught to sit still, be quiet. We're taught so young to be aware of our surroundings, while boys, the saying boys will be boys, like from a young age we understand that there are different ways to act for specifically boys and girls. And the fact that we have to be so hyper aware of how we look, how we act, how we like just function in our own bodies makes us have to mature so much more quickly and become way more aware of our surroundings and more aware of what we want. And it's a blessing and a curse in a way, because I feel like I understand myself more because I've had to like really think about what my values are because I'm so aware of myself and other people. But also at the same time, it kind of sucks because I can't remember a time where I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. And that might be because I do have an anxiety disorder, but it's also my other friends who don't, they feel the same way. in the sense where they're like, yeah, I always felt like I wasn't sitting the right way or that my hair wasn't good enough. Like, and if you
I think
talk to
that's
one,
a female thing. You think it's a female trait.
I definitely think it is.
Abby?
I mean, I feel like my answer to your question is pretty simple. Your question was, what are we being taught about ourselves that is different from males? And I don't really think that anybody's being taught much about themselves. Like, generally in the school system, kind of, there's absolutely nothing. Like, I had to specifically wait until my junior year to take a psychology class to learn anything about like impulses and when the brain matures. Like, that was never.
Do you think that you understand males?
Oh God, no, absolutely not. No, I don't want to. No, I mean, and I think I think women who are like, yeah, men are so easy to read, like all they want is sex and like big muscles
That's a
and they
very
just want to look
cliche thing.
cool.
Yes, yes. It's a cliche
Like,
thing to say. Yes.
right. It's frustrating to me because we get frustrated that like, oh yeah, all women should have big boobs and a big butt and like should know their place in the kitchen. It's the same thing. Like,
So you still feel like those messages are still leaking out, like in this day and age at your
oh,
in
absolutely.
Gen Z.
Social media
Wow,
is
that's amazing.
like,
Mhm.
oh, I
Just
could go on such a tangent. But What I love about what you're saying though, Abby, is that one of the first things I feel like Irene, you're even experiencing that was a shock to me was the realization that we are still experiencing the same tension points in so many ways, regardless of being millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, and now upcoming Gen Alpha. We're just using different languages and different mediums, but we're all experiencing and expressing similar
some of the things
challenges.
are just there. But so I guess the question I'm really leading to is like, how much of this awareness about ourselves and that you're learning about each other can or should be applied to males? Like,
Mm.
maybe it's time to flip it over. We've done so much for a few decades already to empower women. Perhaps it's now the male's turn to learn more about themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think we do. There still is a bunch of work to make equality, and I think one of the main ways we can do that is like I do think that part of the reason that men are so much more turned off to awareness of themselves is because it's like seen as girly to
Yeah,
like, know your emotions, to
yeah.
know what you're feeling.
Mhm.
And especially like sex ed is that like is something that I'm so passionate about just because like I haven't had like a proper sex ed class. I had one in 6th grade, but they said, well, you guys understand it, so it's fine. They didn't go into detail.
Oh, yeah. But
I didn't know until I was 14 years old that a penis goes into a vagina. I literally thought it was just rubbing, and I freaked out when I found out.
wow.
And talking to my male peers, and like the only way for sex to be safe is if we understand how it works. But also, there are a lot more men who are having trouble coming out as gay or non-binary or pansexual because of this like standard that Abby was talking about, that like men are a certain way and they can't change. Like, there's just, you need to be manly. And I think the way that we can really achieve equality is if we empower both, and like no two people are the same, and the way that you act, the way that you look does not define your sexuality, your personality, how intelligent you are. And it's definitely something I also have to work on, because I have blind spots.
I'm also wondering too if, if males were more aware of their feminine sexuality part, the part of them that is more feminine, and it weren't so frowned upon as being effeminate or feminine, just, because they're a man and they don't have to change their sex if they're feeling a little more feminine.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that would bring more balance into the whole situation. Let me ask you this. Now that you're more in touch with your female sexuality, how do you understand persons who do not identify with either sex?
All of my friends are a part of the queer community, the LGBTQ community. I am as well. I'm cis, but I don't identify as straight. I don't really, I'm trying to figure it out right now, but like, I don't only like men. And clearly with my hair, like, I don't generally dress to the gender roles like female ideal, I guess. I've had something on my head shaved or dyed or something, but I can't identify with people who don't identify with either gender. I just know, I guess, sort of how it feels to not strongly identify with
Gotcha.
like the ideals of one specific
Okay,
gender.
that's good. I mean, I'm not looking for any specific answer, but I knew that that these are loaded questions, but you girls are very articulate, and I'm really proud of both of you, really. Now, do either of you know any transgender people?
Yes, I have multiple friends who I'm very close with who are transgender. Like
Multiple. Wow.
multiple, yes. It's more open and definitely at my school we're very inclusive. Like, I know people, it's like not something that I really define them as, I guess, It's just that they are who they are and they just happen to be trans. And like I said, I can empathize with them because I don't understand what it's like to be in the wrong body. But I think, we all have gone through some sort of part of ourselves that we felt kind of uncomfortable with. And so I can kind of sympathize with the fact, but it's definitely like, in my experience, like, my parents growing up didn't know any trans people. And I can count off like 5 or 6 people I just know from the top of my head. And I definitely am so glad that I like have been blessed with the fact that all these people can be their true selves around me because like I just love meeting authentic people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there are more people who I am friends with that are trans than people that I am friends with who are not. Like, and I also find it interesting. I literally had to like think in my head, like I had to think about a person and be like, I can't like this person is trans. Yeah. Yeah. Cause like it's
Oh,
as Taya said, it's not their identity, you know? Like
it's become so natural and
right,
very, so aware of it because it
right.
becomes so natural.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just who that person is.
Yeah.
Like that person
And you're talking
is
about
white. So
other students at school.
yeah.
And mhm.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about gender? That was one of two striking conversations I had with two sets of guests on the Diamond Bridges show. To break it down, I decided to feature two episodes on the topic of gender, one with my Gen Z teenage guests and the Millennial guidance counselor, and the other with my Millennial and a Gen X mother. The indoctrination is confusing for most of us, but clearly we are entering a new era, and sexuality is shaping the future. Gender is a fundamental building block of each of our identities. It's a fundamental to the reality most of us know. We're seeing a rise in the spectrum of gender expression in a way that challenges our understanding of this polarity. I'm female, but I also have masculine attributes. I want to explore what that means to understand my masculine energy, although I identify as she. Is the way to achieving equality still to empower both of our male and female attributes? Or is equality not really defined by our sexuality? When we say boys will be boys and girls will be girls, can that still be a comforting statement? Is it all right for guys to feel manly and girls to feel pretty? I think sexuality is still a taboo subject, even in the heat of gender transformation. Should we try to educate males and females equally? Perhaps that's not fulfilling a true purpose. What I've learned from my guests in both of these episodes discussing the topic of gender is that the sense of belonging is paramount. Starting at home as a private family matter and extending to the development of children and the teenage experience in school settings. By providing safe opportunities for everyone to explore the spectrum of their gender expression without pressure to exist in any one binary, we allow the freedom to become their authentic selves. So maybe what we have to learn and what the non-binary experience comes to teach us is how the sense of belonging is necessary for human existence, period. So much is solved through that belonging to a community, having your place, and being able to become more of yourself. Let's accept people no matter how they identify. Include them. Help them feel like they belong in our homes, around our dinner tables, in our communities, our schools, and places of worship. Bye for now. I'll see you next time on Diamond Bridges. If you like this episode on the topic of gender, be sure to watch the other episode featuring sets of guests on the same topic of gender.